Good evening, everybody. Sorry, my voice is a little weird. I'm still getting over a really nasty virus that has knocked me down for over the last week and a half, so that's been fun dealing with that. But I'm back on my feet. Unlike Atlanta United, who got knocked down once again in a pretty horrific fashion. Now, I'm going to start by saying I didn't expect to beat the Columbus Crew in Columbus. I don't think anyone really should, especially given our away form, especially given what we've done so far this season, how we've not been able to cobble together a cohesive effort consistently. I didn't expect to win this game. I didn't expect to get smacked 3-0 in the first half. I expected a little bit more fire and effort to put up a bit of a challenge. It all was, as the commentator said over and over again, painfully, it's all just too easy against Atlanta United's defense, and we knew to a degree that this was going to be the case. We have a makeshift back line. It's makeshift almost as it comes. The lack of Stian Gregerson, the leadership of the veteran, leadership of Derek Williams really showed. The goals, unfortunate as well, in Brad Guzan letting that second one slip right by him, which was, you want to talk about how this team not being able to put together a consistent 90. You have a lot of players doing their parts here and there, some of them excelling sometimes, but in this game, in the first half at least, everyone kind of made pretty egregious errors. Even Guzan, even though he had overall a decent game, that second goal was ridiculous. It's unfortunate. Everyone kind of had a black eye to a degree in this game. No one really shone that brightly for me. Especially, just Sleesh talking back to the ref for no reason and getting a yellow in order to get suspended for next game. That's just, I don't know what's going on. It's this team continues to fall apart. When they kind of pick themselves back up momentarily, comes crashing back down again. No consistency. Whatever seems to be built, whatever momentum is gained by whatever happens, just dashes immediately for the next game. It must be, I don't know how much blame you want to give Ronnie Deila to this, but regardless of how much blame he gets, this must be extremely frustrating for him and for even everyone else in the front office, and of course, obviously, for the fans. It is an extremely frustrating time to be an Atlanta United fan. And to help us with that and maybe cheer us up, doubtful, but we'll see. Maybe he's got some things to help bring us out of this dark pit right now. AJ joins me to, I don't know. How are you going to spin this? How are we going to make things better for everybody?
I'm not going to make things better for everybody here. That's not my responsibility. Obviously, the goal for Atlanta United is to provide entertainment for the fans. And that first half was about as nil of an entertainment as it comes. And, it's just, what can you expect from a side that is depleted, for one? That sure can be the excuse, but ultimately it's just you have 2 weeks to prepare for this match, and yeah, it
You
just
get
seems like
smacked.
naive.
You get smacked.
Yeah, it seems like naivete after naivete, and it's just, why are you dilly-dallying on the ball and not even crisply passing in the back? It's, how many times have we done this? It's game after game, mistake after mistake, and we just don't learn from it. It's new people every single time, almost, it seems like. And Brad Guzan, yeah, I mean, it's like, I think it's arguable. Yes, it shouldn't have gone through his legs, but it shouldn't have gotten to that area in the first place.
Yeah, all
the
of the
second
goals
goal.
were kind of like that. They breached our
Yeah.
defense. I mean, that second goal that led to that was 3 passes from their goalie.
Yeah.
It's unacceptable.
Yeah.
It's way too
And
easy.
so basically, right, not enough pressure on the ball, and then not good positioning in order to prevent those balls from getting to those zones. And I think, yeah, this game you're seeing, it's a Jay Fortune sized hole in our midfield, because Schleich, Click, it's just not athletic enough. And on top of that, it seems like there's just, with Click, if you have to sub him out at the half, I mean, like, listen, like, he just shouldn't be playing.
Yeah.
Like, that's just, I don't care how much experience you have. Like, if you can't last at least until the second half, and I think that's kind of part of the problems, and unfortunately now he will have to start the next match. Seems like a really great guy. Unfortunately, I think is just past it.
Yeah.
Like, that's, and now we have only 2 players in midfield that have played some minutes in midfield, like, that are available for the next match. Like, it's just compounding, and yeah, you can't really. I mean, the word comes to mind is legislate for these type of injuries, but it is one of these things, though. You can try to squad build a lot better than this, and yes, the players are the culprits. Yeah, front office is as well for the squad that they've pretty much created. It's this. Yes, we're the 3rd highest payroll in MLS, and there's somebody that was saying, like, oh yeah, so third. I think it was the broadcast saying 3rd highest should mean that they're 3rd in the 3rd best in the league, right? No, not even close.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Their phrase was,
close.
"It does not translate to on the pitch results."
Yeah, and yeah, it just seems like we're spending a lot of money on a big lack of cohesion, and who's excited for some raising of season ticket prices, because yeah, that's
Death and taxes.
that's bound to
man.
happen too. Right, and I think if Atlanta United are aware, have some sort of modicum of self-awareness, they would put a freeze. They would absolutely start, like, announce
Until
that
they
they're
figure
putting a
this out.
freeze.
Exactly, because what that does, at least it shows they acknowledge there's a problem. They haven't quite figured it out because they're continuing to run into icebergs. So put a freeze until they quote unquote figure it out. That would be responsible, a good steward of the fans, I feel like, at that point, if they did that. But I have a feeling they probably won't, because cost of living keeps going up. So
Yeah, cost of living, but yeah, it's like, this is entertainment. Unfortunately,
but I'm saying
it's
they'll
going
be
to-
like, our rent's going up, our X, Y, and Z is going up, so we got to go up. So because that's how everyone justifies everything when it comes to the bigger companies increasing their prices for
yeah,
stuff.
and right, for sure. And it's this too. It's not gonna be a fun topic, but Miguel Miron at $7 to almost $8 million a year. maybe we didn't expect him to make that much. And at the end of the day, really, it's the same budget charge.
Yeah.
So whatever, it doesn't really matter in that sense. But ultimately, this man is getting paid nearly $8 million. And yeah, I'm not seeing him as, what was it, third? Or is it fourth or fifth, I think, highest paid player in MLS.
Yeah.
Like that's, you would expect some sort of being able to run the game, score goals, assist.
Yeah.
Nothing.
MVP caliber, threatening type player, but nowhere close. No one on our team anywhere close to being able to look like that.
Yeah. And it still is. I mean, this is the problems, like I've mentioned before, like I've mentioned in our Patreon articles, in our roundtable, where basically, and check it out if you haven't, but a big part of our issue is not having a settled back 4 or 5, because we don't know how to build up. These players that are homegrowns, when you have Edwards and Morales in the back line, I mean, it's tough. Like, yeah, I think both of those players have potential, and I think they probably should just continue to get more minutes. But is it going to be naive? Yeah. And that's what happened today, is that you have two players that, I mean, it's the thing, they're going to take the lumps.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, they're taking the lumps against a very, very good side. And yeah, it's just they don't get enough protection. We can't build up. Basically, our back line and our midfield is just like there's no connectivity.
Exactly. Yep.
So that's why we lump it long every single time that we can in our most successful spells in a match. And that's why the second half looked a lot better, because we basically bypassed any sort of trying to play between the lines.
Yeah.
And
that's
you can't do that.
That's on offense. Exactly the same on defense. We had the same issue because there's a gap. When the other team's attacking, Jason Russell-Rowe, Diego Rossi, Herrera, they all kind of were able to sit in that kind of middle gap and play in a position that was in between our center back line and in between like our midfield, and they were able to thrive there, open space, create opportunities, do whatever the hell they wanted, receive passes from like the midway line, like just do whatever basically they wanted.
Because they know.
Yeah.
Because they know it's this. We have two homegrowns in our back line, and if they drag one of them out, then there's a massive gap in behind.
Yeah. It's like all one of those talented players need to do, beat one guy on the dribble, and then they already know super amount of space is opened up somewhere else.
And they're in, exactly. And so they were way more incisive than we were. They pretty much were playing a 3-4-3. It's basically, 3-man back lines versus 3-man back lines. And, I mean, our guys, it's just, again, too predictable on the wings. And every single time the ball goes to Brooks Lennon, yes, he scored today. Woohoo, he, scored from 2 yards away. Yes, I am happy that we got on the score sheet because he scored, but ultimately it doesn't undo all of the rest of the match where he's putting listless balls into the box. He's not even looking up.
Yeah.
It's just...
Brooks Lennon's goal is not illustrative of anything positive that we've done in these games. Like, there's no system in play here that's like, yep, we need to do more of that. I mean, every team at certain points are just going to toss the ball into the mixer and hope for something good to happen. That's not a strategy. We can't just do that all the time. We have to do things. We have to play soccer, not just that. And so I don't while it's a goal, it's a consolation goal.
Yeah. And it's this. Columbus Crew, they conserve their energy for their next match on Sunday. Let's just be real. They hung on because they realized, we don't need to go as hard in the second half. And even if Atlanta tries to, put the put the game to us, it doesn't really matter. Like they know they can actually kick it into a second, third gear and bury us if they really, really wanted to.
And they almost did.
And so, it's just, yeah, they very well could have. And yes, the broadcast was saying, oh yeah, we probably could have. It should have been 3-3 or whatever. I mean, it's just, I'm not really sure that it really could have, because those chances weren't that pronounced. They weren't those type of chances that it's like, oh, those are sitters. They should have scored those. Like, yeah, no. I mean, like, Lat de Lat, I think he probably had a couple of looks. Probably should have scored that, I think, that first one, where he was, able to cut it in on his favorite left foot.
Yeah.
Not on goal at all. But that second one, where, he's being marked by two men and no one helping him. And yeah, I mean, it's just, what else can he do? Like, he pretty much got shielded off from being able to carry it anywhere. So yeah, I think there's not really, I think, just the like, oh yeah, this was a lot tighter than it should have been. Scoreline is deceiving. It's like,
I mean, they were trying to kind of like hype it up a bit, make it more interesting than it was. That's clearly was the case. But I mean, like, there were some things like this game could have changed a little bit, but again, like, our point mainly is the game started and ended in the first half. The second half, it's like, great, yeah, they're trying to tease it a little bit back or whatever, and maybe score 2. Even if we scored 3, that doesn't excuse, like we talked about, anything that happened in the first half, because they could have just continued on the gas, like you were talking about, but they didn't. So they didn't have to, right? It's very frustrating to kind of hear everything about, like, no offense to the commentators, I don't think they said anything wrong. It's just, it was very frustrating to hear these things over and over and over again. And it's just like, it's my team playing like garbage week in and week out, sometimes, not all the time. And the same kind of comments. And a lot of times it's not always the same commentators, different commentators that come to like the same conclusions. And it's just, it's very, very sad and hard to hear. Anyway, let's go over some of the stats before we get into the guests. We have 2 guests for tonight. So the match overview, the possession was 63% overall for Columbus. They had a 3.26 expected goal from SofaScore. We had a 1.94. They had 5 big chances. We only had 2. They had 19 total shots. We only had 9. I think on MLS they had like 20 shots. That they counted. We had big 7 saves from Brad Guzan. Like I said, that second goal inexcusable, but outside of that, he had a good game overall. None of our players really left this game without like kind of a black eye, unfortunately. We had 12 fouls. They only had 4. That's indicative of us struggling this game, trying to keep up to the tempo they were trying to play at. They were just breaking us off the hinges. It was, we had to do a lot of fouling. They almost doubled our pass numbers. Tackles were pretty much the same. They had 12 free kicks. We only had 4. And the yellow card accumulation, obviously, 4 for us, only 1 for them. Another indication of our clear frustration this match. And unfortunately, we didn't handle it very well. Bartosz Slisz, I don't know what possessed him. I remember in the beginning of the match, he kind of had like a verbal with the ref for a minute. I thought he might get a card there, but he didn't. And then he does it again and does get the card later in the match. I want to know what's that about? What's the discipline there? Should be that you don't lose your cool and hurt your team in the next game. But
especially in this really dire moment when we are already out 2 senior midfielders. So yeah, it's it's just petulance, and not even like in a good sense where you might be a little bit aggressive for aggressive sake. It's more just a guy that it's just naivete. I mean, at this point, like, why would you do that when your team really needs you? It just seems like, you know what? I don't want to play next match. I'm gonna get I'm gonna get a yellow card here. Like it almost seems like that.
He's mad as
Because
hell.
to
Clearly.
get a yellow card for dissent when your club is short in midfield, inexcusable.
Yeah, it's selfish, is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with that, we're joined by Nick in the ATL. Nick, not a great result this game, obviously. Another, what is this? What is that, like seven goal different, like, or -6 differential the last two games combined that we played? This is
-7 or -6. You're right.
Yeah. So
-6.
So this is tough. This is tough. Little stretch of 2 so far. Yeah. How did you take this game? Do you have anything positive to take away from it? I'm struggling to find some positive things to look at from this game. It's just the mentality for me was the biggest thing. I didn't like what I saw from the players. It was just kind of immature and not good enough.
As everyone in the Discord knows, and I said so on social media, I turned us off at halftime. I did not watch the second half, albeit I did see the replays of the goal we scored. I'm going to say it like that on purpose.
Yeah.
A goal's a goal.
There's luck. Yeah.
I loved AJ's take on it on Blue Sky, that yay, we scored from 2 yards out. I mean, that's about what you feel at that point. I have never in all the time I've been following this club and watching other teams around the league, around the world, I have never seen such a poor defensive performance as this. I'm stretched to find a worse one. Even on an international level, I'm stretched to find a worse defensive performance than this. Granted, the situation at hand.
You think it's like the pressure is mounting against these players as well? Like they're obviously not up for the moment, and the pressure is getting on top of them. I mean, this is another game where we see, like a back pass into the lower midfield, our defensive end, where Sleesh has to stick his leg out to try and receive it and just can't. And then it's a turnover, and then it's a goal. Like that is just, that typifies the non-interconnectivity that this team has, the absence of it.
And I tell you, it is like a dagger in your heart to hear, like you were saying, another set of commentators tell us about our problems.
It does suck.
It's just that I heard yet again, players, not a team. And so help me, go back in the match day chat in the Discord, scroll up and say, that's what I've been saying all fucking season.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it is that. It's yeah. It's just, everybody can see a lot of the problems that we have, but they're also not easily solvable problems either. Yeah. And it's just if they were, they would be solved already. But clearly, it's deeply ingrained where, people much smarter than all of us should be tasked with trying to figure out. And yeah, I mean, if the CEO of Atlanta United can't figure it out, I mean, it's just one of these things. It's like, let's be frank, one of the best CEOs, or I guess head of a front office in MLS history cannot figure it out yet. One of the best sporting directors in MLS, yes, has been brought in, but yeah, only one window. Yeah, he's got a very big task ahead of him.
Yeah.
And it's just one of these things where, I mean, maybe it was naive of us to think that one transfer window would have solved all the issues that we we had from
Yeah.
last year. But
I think it was
you know,
naive, very much
with
so.
everybody.
And I kind of like it's, before the whole like the culture is just rubbish at this club kind of dialogue came around. Like, we all thought that perhaps, when transfer window might fix things. It was a lack of like talent in some key positions or something like that. But no, it's a core player systemic issue that is rooted in a bad culture of some sort somehow. And until we kind of have a refresh of that, you can put all the DP players, coaches, fancy facilities, best FO in the whole league, whatever, all that in place, but it won't fix these things. And one thing I feel like should at least, like I mentioned this in the Discord tonight, I feel like we should at least be gelling a little bit by accident at this point. Because I feel like when you have a new coach, you have a coach like Ronnie Diley, you should be, part of the coach's job is to figure out how to bring a group of individual players and create a team out of that. And he's just not. If anything, it's like the opposite. And that just kind of blows my mind. Like how we can almost regress in some instances.
Yeah, because a new head coach bounce usually, there's like some semblance of that sometimes, right? I mean, when it starts a season, obviously it's a little bit more difficult, and especially when players aren't fully in there for a full preseason. I think that, obviously played a part, and it just kind of spiraled. And I think as far as like the thoughts of some positivity that we can think about here is like, yeah, this primes us for a really miraculous Cinderella run into the playoffs again, right?
Oh.
But yeah, I mean, it's just Major League, that movie,
Yeah.
pretty much that was our season last year, and but this there was a sequel. There was, I think they started in the minor leagues. Yeah, it was Major League 2.
Yeah.
Come on, guys. But I think they were like the Buzz, like they were like Bumblebees or something. I forget what they were, right? It wasn't Cleveland Indians anymore, but it was a lot of the same actors.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think we're very lucky that we cannot get relegated.
Yeah.
Because this is. Yeah, it
people
is.
talking
We
wooden
should be
spoon.
relegated at this point, really.
We're looking at wooden spoon territory, ladies and gentlemen. It's not good. Nick, I really want to get your thoughts on...
Wait a minute, hold it. Do you think the LA Galaxy is going to have a miraculous comeback to prevent them from getting the wooden spoon? Let's be real.
I think they have a larger chance of putting something together before we do. But I think it's more likely that they're able to figure things out before we are, in my estimation.
It's a way different squad that they have than last year, sure, but they still have Greg Vanney, and it's still a squad that should be playing better than they are. Yes, the same thing could be said about us, but we have not shown an ability to actually win when it matters.
True.
So anyway, Nick, I wanted to get your take.
Does Ricky Puig come back?
Yeah, that's a huge miss for them. But Nick, what's your take on? Because a lot of people, I've seen it in the Discord and on social media everywhere. The calls for Ronnie's head are starting to get really loud. How much blame do you put Ronnie for all this?
Very little. It's not the coach. It's not the coach this time. It was one thing with Pineda last year that the players seemed like they had something and the coach was the problem. This is the reverse. The players are the problem. I don't think it's the coach. So I'm not in that camp, and y'all can come at me if you want. I never thought Ronnie Dyler was the problem. He seems like he's trying. Yeah, I mean, you can blame him for some of it, but you can't blame him for all of it. The collection of people out there that's not a team, it's mostly on them at this point. Still, to do something.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you mostly. I mean, like, Ronnie Dyla's game plan is not for, a back pass to Sleesh to get fumbled for the other team to go score. Like, that's not his
that's on the
game
players.
plan. Yeah. So it's not as if, like, in training he's not teaching them what to do in order to score or how to prevent goals against them. He is. It's just, I mean,
in game versus in training is different, and it's just they're not going to be able to replicate in game intensity, especially against the likes of a Columbus Crew. And like the best experience, unfortunately, for Matt Edwards, for Efrain Morales, is taking those lumps. Now, would it be a lot better if they were taking those lumps at Atlanta United too? Yeah, 100%. But, we're past that now. I think at this point, we should be developing our youth and really trying to see if we can extract the talent that's definitely within these players. I think you can see that, where they could be if they can kind of get these mistakes out of their system. Because I think those two are very versatile players that have ability, clearly, but it's a very nascent moment in their career. So usually a winning club does not really prioritize giving those guys a ton of playing time, but they're being thrown in the fire and they're going to take these lumps. And unfortunately, our expectations as fans and as a club and league-wide, because again, we're the third highest salary in MLS. We don't have the patience for this. Why should we have the patience for this? We're paying the highest as fans in the league for watching Atlanta United, for watching their club. Why should we have the patience? But unfortunately, we have to have the patience. And as far as Dyla goes, it's like, what other coach is going to want to come into this that has his experience? That if we can find the better players, better talent, to actually be able to get this club in the right direction. Because it's going to be worse levels of coaches. And at this point, I think Ronnie Dyla, he could at any point just be like, you know what, guys, I'm out. Jose Mourinho it and just be like, guys, I don't have to be here.
I don't see him as that type of coach, honestly. He could, but I don't think he's going to do that.
Yeah, I mean, it scares me with that quote from when he first got here. And was like, I'm going to leave when I sense I can't teach anyone anything else. And, it's not just with the understanding that I've taught them to such a degree now that they've all reached their potential. It's also that they don't want to listen to him anymore. So I can't teach him anymore. So if they don't want to listen, I'm going to leave.
Yep.
That's what I took from that. And it scared the hell out of me when I was starting to see the team seeming to not respond to what he's trying to say. And that's nervy. I don't like, to AJ's point, I truly believe too, we go and get another coach. I don't think that I think it'll probably be a lower caliber coach. It may not fix anything. It may even make things worse. We don't know that. I think Ronnie's probably here for a little while. So I know a lot of people are calling for him. I really want to know exactly a little bit more why you guys are so anti-Ronnie. I guess you got to talk about more of his specific tactics and how he's lining up his team in order to play these matches. If you think that's if he just picked tactics A versus tactics B, we could have won or had a result. I don't think that that's the case in these games or this season, really.
Exactly. I think it's this too. When you don't have first choice players, how you have to adapt to the players that you have, and unfortunately, we have to play Route 1. There's no other way. But to expect the team to not even try to play on the ball a little bit in the match, like, yeah, if we're constantly going long, well, then it's going to be very predictable. And then at that point, Columbus Crew are going to read us even better than they were. And it's just like, yeah, well, at this point, no big deal. Like, we'll sit back, let you try to lump it long, and then we'll just counter you. And so, like, any of these things, like, you have to actually still try to play the game, and unfortunately, we're just not good on the ball to try to play through the lines from the back. And so, it's just, the team doesn't have the talent to play the way that everybody really wants them to play. And it's just like, this season, unfortunately, like, until we can finally get first choice players in the back line into midfield, it's going to look like this. Like, nothing else is going to change until we can actually get better players.
Yeah. Nick, what's your final thoughts on this match, and then maybe a word or two about perhaps the end of the road trip?
Well, I have nothing that hasn't already been said to add about this match. It is very forgettable in the annals of the history of this club, these 8.5 seasons. It is one of the worst performances ever. Either you're coughing or chortling over there.
I'm coughing.
Okay. I know, surely not what I'm saying is that not funny, but yeah, it is. I'd laugh at it too. I mean, really. I mean, I'm grasping at straws to repeat what we've already been saying this whole season, again and again and again and again.
Yeah.
The end of this road trip can't come soon enough. It's been lessened by one game now, with the Miami match moving to October 11th in the middle of Atlanta Pride weekend, no doubt.
Right. But it also is
Go
mercifully
ahead.
for
Go ahead.
Atlanta United. Yeah. No, I didn't want to cut you off, but it is mercifully. Like, imagine if we have to play that match. Messi is on fire. And, whew, like, at the very least, if we can find some sort of form at the end of the season, fantastic. But I think the only saving grace of this season might be if we can find some form in Leagues Cup.
Oof.
That's really it. I know,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
not
And that's
high
not looking
hopes,
good either.
but
Yeah, exactly. That's rough. Yeah, if that's that. All right, Nick. Thanks for hanging out with us.
New competition.
It is a new competition.
A plug before I go.
Go for it.
All Stripes is hosting Drag Bingo this Saturday at 4 p.m. at Brick and Mortar, Pullman Yards. We are hosting the Armorettes, a great drag group. Lots of prizes, signed merchandise by people. Come on by. We'll have some fun and just get drunk and whatever, So that's 4 p.m. Saturday, Brick and Mortar. All the details on the All Stripes social channels, you'll find it. I'll be there. Come join us, have some fun, and enjoy not playing Miami this Saturday.
Yeah, seriously. All right, thanks, Nick. I appreciate it. Yeah, and have fun at that event.
All right. Love you all. Thanks.
Have a good
Bye.
night, Eric.
Love you too, Mike.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right, let me get through some of these comments on YouTube while we get our next guest up, and we're gonna have a Columbus fan on tonight to talk to us a little bit about his team and their victory, and what he thinks went wrong with Atlanta. Trying to give his perspective if he was in the Atlanta shoes. All right, so let's see. We got A1 Products, Moreau saying, the wooden spoon becoming more of a reality. Yeah, don't talk that into existence, please. James Mack says, I don't even know what to be angry at anymore. It's everything. Third highest salary plus largest fan base equals a shit show. Jennifer Taylor says, I don't think there's enough sage in the state to fix what's wrong with this team. Gary Posey says, apathy. All I feel is apathy. Joshua says, way Atlanta United lost. Yeah, I guess the way that they lost was bad. Do we use the word rebuild again? I mean, I think so. I think we would have to, because it's, like I said earlier, it's the core of the team that I believe is the problem here. The culture that surrounds the core of this team needs to go, and the only real way, I think, to do that is to replace the core itself. Jennifer Taylor says, you have to have something built in order to tear something down and rebuild it. That's true. We don't really have anything. And I was hoping with, Garth coming in, Henderson coming in, with the new coach, some of these new DPs, we would have kind of a new refreshed mindset, which then we can have a kind of a culture built from that. I thought FEA was a good start, but it just never materialized. So we're going to have to start that over again. Justin says, yeah, build a new stadium, coach, front office owner at this point. Jennifer also says, real talk on
that's our foundation.
Yeah.
So, we have a foundation.
Right.
But as far as, the bones of the house have rotted. And it is very much like termites have overtaken it. It looks like it's just, apocalyptic. So, yeah, but we have a foundation.
We do have the foundation. So yeah, we are joined. One second, let me just get your. This is Connor, right? I think you're muted. No, maybe. No. No, you're good. I can hear you now. All right. Connor, welcome in. So this game obviously didn't go to our our side of things of how we wanted it to go, but it did for you. So I would like to get your perspective after maybe just kind of your just basic thoughts on the game as a whole about what really went wrong. How did Columbus really figure out Atlanta? Was it just simple as, the defense not being on the same page with themselves, or was it something else that you identified? Was it something that Columbus just did really well? So yeah, go for it.
I think it started in our midfield. I think Shambost and Nagby just dismantled that midfield. From what I recall, I think somebody said you didn't know who you were going to start in the midfield, but they weren't beating that Columbus midfield. I think our passing also tore you guys apart. I don't know if you guys agree with that or not. But
yeah, I think
going
so.
into the game,
100%.
Going into the game, I had no idea that back line for you guys was makeshift. Like, I didn't even know until somebody posted it in the Discord.
Yeah,
but
it's extremely.
It's too homegrown to Efrain Morales is starting his first match, getting his first minutes in 2025. Yeah, it's as makeshift as it gets. Matt Edwards not expected to play this many minutes, this far into the 2025 season as well, and Luis Abram not first choice either. Yeah, it's just that, and yes, Lennon and Amador are our starters, but Amador has been in and out. Lennon probably shouldn't have even started this match, even though he got the goal for us. Yeah. But I think other people probably would have suggested Saba to start. So you guys sliced through us like it was nothing. Hot knife through butter. Yeah.
That three pass from goalie, 3 passes up to Rowe to score that goal. That's indicative of the Swiss cheese midfield and defense that Atlanta was sporting tonight.
I'm just surprised that you guys let our wingbacks tear you guys apart. Herrera and Lapalainen did work on those sides.
Mm.
Lennon did what he could, but it, like you guys said, it was almost like a hot knife through butter. Those wingbacks were just lowering down those flanks.
Yeah, Pedro's pretty good defensively. He's pretty good overall. He's one of our better players, but Brooks Lennon is a big frailty on defense. He is not really responsible for that kind of thing. And when he gets pushed on that, he folds, usually, unfortunately.
So I wanted to point out Brad Guzan a little bit, because Gosdog was coming into the game without scoring a goal for Columbus. And it just looks like to me, anytime Gostow got his chance on goal, fucking Brad Guzan turned into prime Manuel Neuer and stopped him every single shot he took. And then turns around and gets nutmegged for the second goal. I think it was either the second or the third.
It was second, yeah. It was weird. Like I was saying in the beginning of the show, none of the players really didn't have a black eye this game. But Brad Guzan was one of the best ones outside of that nutmeg. He had a very good game. So, say what you will about that. I mean, everyone has like mistakes here and there, but overall, yeah, he denied Gazdag and had some really good saves tonight. So, I mean, the game, like AJ was saying earlier, could have been maybe like 5 or 6 for Columbus at a certain point. It could have been a little maybe higher for Atlanta as well at some point. But like, yeah, Guzan, I mean, it's hard to say kept us in this game because we never got that second goal, but, he left the door open a little bit.
So was there any word on why Saba didn't start tonight? Because towards the end of the game when he came in, he gave you guys like that spark.
Yeah.
But I think it was too little too late.
More tactical, probably. I think Saba not as defensively sound as Lennon somehow. I mean, it is what it is because basically they're both not defenders. So that's probably why. But as far as if we could have kept ourselves in the game a little bit, like there is a value in having a better way of playing than just trying to cross blindly from the wings. And that's just kind of what happens. Saba brings a little bit more dynamism and I think a little bit more nous on the ball, but ultimately, it didn't really matter. I think the fact that you guys just were like just incisively able to destruct us, I think that's the crux of it. Is just Wolfer Nazi. It's just too easy against Atlanta United at this moment, and how we're constructed, how we're just having to really piece together the back line and midfields, and you guys may have suffered a 5-1 defeat to Inter Miami, but that's against Inter Miami. We're just in the doldrums, so it just really
But what really frustrates me is that the first goal for Columbus, Herrera's goal, is exactly how I expected Emmanuel Atlutd to get a lot of his chances and score types of goals that he gets. He doesn't score like that for us.
But he's not going to get that service.
Like he got like the guy just made the run completely perfectly timed to stay on side and get his foot on the ball and then get the touch and then score the goal very cleanly, I might add. That's the kind of like panache I was expecting to see a lot of Emmanuel Atlutd's chances, but these just get zero service like that. Zero.
And then he's pressing when he actually gets a chance, like he's snatching at it, and it's just unfortunately, this is what happens when you can't get the ball with regularity to your striker. And you guys don't even have a striker, and we were able to put 3 against us, and it's just it is what it is. Like, you guys are basically, it is. Someone said on the internet, you guys are 2009 Barcelona, and it's just like that kind of is very, very apropos. And then we're 2025 LA United. We're
need say no more. Yeah.
So I wanted to touch on Latte Lap a little bit because from what I recall, he had like 2 or 3 big chances he should have put in the back of the net.
Yeah. He's got a bit of the yips, I think, right now.
Like, I mean, I hate to use this word, but I think he was kind of pocketed by Steven Moreira tonight because I think he was Moreira's main assignment. But somebody said earlier, if Latte Lap doesn't get service, if you cut off the service, he's not going to score goals for you.
Yes, that is true too.
Would you guys agree?
Yeah, he's like all of our strikers, all of the history of Atlanta United have been feast or famine like that. If you can get them service, they can do a lot of really cool things. But if you don't, they sit on an island and largely do nothing.
And I mean, it's difficult though because strikers they're not asked to be, really anyway, to be part of the build-up unless they're a false nine, and they're not asked to do a lot. They're just asked to get on the end of things, and I mean, unfortunately, like we're shit at it. Like we're absolutely one of the worst teams at doing that, and Miggy not really creating that much for him either. I mean, they're not on the same page still. There was a moment where, he just like pelted it. And it was like, okay, well, if it was just a little bit softer, Atlutd obviously has the pace to get to it. But
yeah, that was actually a lot tonight. It wasn't just that opportunity. There was multiple times where passes for, outlet passes and through balls for not just Emmanuel Atlutd, but other players, were underweighted or underweighted, and either were read by Columbus's defense and intercepted, or just went completely out of bounds or right to the goalie. And it was frustrating to see it. Like a lot of the players that these passes were intended towards would just throw their hands up and just go like, ugh. Like you could see the frustration on their body language.
Right. I think it's this. As good as Columbus is, like we're on the opposite end of the spectrum. That first half, as bad as it could get. And it's just when Atlanta United are left to their own devices, which is pretty much what that first half was, like without any instruction, without the ability to adjust within the match, like that's what happens. Like they were completely overrun, and it also is this: you have the best MLS player ever in Darlington Nagbe in your midfield.
I think somebody said yesterday that they want him back at Atlanta.
100%.
Oh, yeah. We never 100%. Wanted him in the league.
No, we were absolute fools to let him go, but he had his heart set elsewhere. So.
Well, he's an Ohio guy.
Yeah. Let's get your perspective on Darlington Nagbe and how he came about. Coming to Columbus.
Four-time MLS Cup winner, Darlington Nagbe.
Right. But it's also that, like the story around it more so that I'm interested in what you heard, if you know.
So, I'm not familiar with the story because I started following the team in 2021.
Okay.
But I don't know. I think he just wanted to be closer to home because he's a Akron grad. He's an Akron kid. And Columbus is like 3.5 hours from Akron. So it's like right there.
Yeah, that was the hearsay, and then there's other speculation that's a little bit more based around Carlos Bocanegra. But so okay, I mean, fair enough. But
you want to play with Caleb Porter or something, right? Too.
Yeah,
a little
Caleb
bit,
Porter
but it's like
wasn't he his coach at Akron?
I think so. Yeah, I think that's why he wanted to be reunited.
In
one of the
Akron,
things.
at Timbers as well. Yeah, it's like he was his coach everywhere, really. So it could have been that, but I think there was speculation that it was other things as well. But either way, Darlington Nagbe, it's just so calm, it's steady, and it's just it's completely what we're missing in our midfield. But he's been able to essentially do bits for you guys to get every bit of success that you guys have wanted. And I think the real question for you guys is like, obviously there's a little bit of some lumps that you guys have taken this season, but
Definitely.
For the rest of the season, do you feel like you guys can make a run, kind of top the Eastern Conference in a way if the points kind of shake out that way?
I don't think we can. Not.
Nope.
Sorry,
you're good.
I don't think we can top the conference because Philly, Miami, they're going to be hard to beat. But if we go out and get a DP striker this summer, somebody from Europe or South America, wherever, who can put the ball in the back of the net, we're a contender again. And there's a rumor floating around in crew spaces that we also could potentially buy down Darlington Nagby's contract and have 2 open DP spots.
Wow.
So rather it be the 1 or 2 DPs, I think we're right back to a contender.
Oh,
I mean, we're a contender right now, and we don't have a true striker playing with it.
That is cup contending levels of things, because we had Darlington Nagby as a non-DP player when we won the cup. That is, I mean, there's no wonder why every time Darlington Nagby arrives at a club, they all of a sudden become contenders, and when he leaves, they drop off. Like it's not like anyone who has eyes can see like one of the bigger reasons why that occurs. It's a ridiculously obvious correlation. So yeah, and also I just absolutely love that player.
Me too.
One of my white whales of jerseys is finding like a Waldo United States Men's National Team kit and have Nagby on the back. That's like impossible to find, but one day.
I mean, to me and to you guys as well, I think Darlington Nagby's the greatest midfielder this league has ever seen. I mean, I don't think there's anybody better, specifically in MLS. I mean, a career guy who's spent his entire career in the league, won what 4 cups, you said?
I think 4.
2 with Columbus, 1 with Atlanta, 1 with Portland. And the league's just better with him.
Wins everywhere he goes.
Playing. Yeah. It just seems like to me he elevates wherever he is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and he is the guy. He's the reason why I have been on the stump for forever about preaching you gotta have a DP 6'8", like kind of around that area to be a really, really good team. And we haven't had that. We have never come close to replacing what we had with Darlington Nagby since he left, and we haven't looked anywhere close to being the same ever since. And I don't think that that's a coincidence.
So, do you guys currently have an open DP spot?
Nope.
Nope. I thought you guys had an open one.
It may appear so, but no, that's not the case.
So
yeah.
I'm trying to think.
It's Emmanuel Atlutd, it's Alexei Moranchuk, and it's Miguel Almiron. So
Almiron's a DP?
You'd be forgiven for not assuming that.
So
Almiron is probably the 5th highest paid player in the league. So yeah, absolutely he is.
So I wanted to ask you guys this question as guys who don't watch Columbus like myself week in and week out. What player or players from Columbus stood out to you guys tonight? It could be anybody.
Yeah, besides Nagby? I mean,
Nagby always stands out. I mean, Gazdag looked animated. He looked driven to score, to do things, to put things together, to stitch stuff together in the attack. He went in, he didn't wait for the play to come to him. He went to it. He was always making stuff happen. So that's an exciting player to watch. We always knew that that'd be the case when we watched him, obviously, when he was exciting on Philadelphia, too. So I think he's going to be a very animated, exciting, energetic player for you guys. Hopefully it can translate into a lot of success in terms of goal scoring. Eventually, of course. I'd expected him to score by now, or at least do more, but his goal contributions are going to be probably pretty good. So it just seemed to be like tonight just wasn't to be for him, but I think he's going to be good for you guys going forward.
Well, he was actually credited with the first Jason Russell goal, according to Football. So that's 2 assists in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So far.
Yeah, It makes sense to me. I expect him to continue to do that kind of stuff. So, I mean, he's the kind of player that I expect Almiron to be able to put up numbers similar to that, if not more. But he's just, this is what the commentators and everyone else have been saying for the longest time about Atlanta United. It's a collection of individuals, not a team. And so even if independently, these are very talented players, a team that's nowhere as good can undo you if you are not playing as a team and you're way better. So, and we saw that. I mean, not necessarily the case of Columbus. We see it against a lot of other teams in the league.
The thing,
it was Diogo Rossi for me. because obviously, it's one of those things where, like, he in the attack can pretty much run the game for you guys. But
a lot of shots,
it
too.
is also this. Right. It's also this. We were in for him. Obviously, we're not successful in getting him. But yeah, I think if he had come, it probably would have changed the fortunes of LA United a little bit. But it's just one of these things where those are sliding door situations, I feel like. And Rossi, probably rightfully so, wanted to go to a team that probably was closer to contending than we were at the time.
I mean, well,
so,
the year he came over in August, won a cup.
yeah, exactly. So it's, I don't blame him. Like, that makes complete sense from his end if he really was given the choice. But I think, obviously, with discovery rights, with all of that, it just it became, what is the best situation for him? And
we were very jealous watching that transpire when it came to how Columbus was very easily able to swap out Cucho Hernandez and replace it with Diego Rossi and seamlessly be able to still go. Huh?
It wasn't that.
Rossi wasn't the Cucho replacement. He was the Zelarayan replacement.
Oh, right. That's what I meant to say. Sorry. Yeah. So like that replacement for me, like seeing that made me very jealous because like when we try to do that, it just doesn't work a lot of times. Like we're like, okay, we're gonna get this guy to come in and he'll attempt to do what the other guy was doing, and it just falls way below expectations a lot of the time, and it's very frustrating to see.
If I was in your guys' position, I would be through the wall right now. Coming off 2 great years where you take Columbus to 3 games in the first round of 2023, and then beating Miami in 3 games last year. You know what I mean? It's like you guys were on the highest of highs. You guys were at the highest of highs since was it 2018?
2018,
right?
Yeah.
No, 2019. So 2019 was probably another one of our successful seasons.
Yeah. Last year we had Darlington Nagbe.
Yeah. But last year or the year before when we played you guys in the playoffs, I wouldn't really call that a good year. There were moments in those seasons, but otherwise, no. Not at any point would I call those successful seasons.
Yeah.
They were what's the term? They were salvaged seasons.
Yeah, they were salvaged. And that series against Columbus, I thought we were lucky to be there, and we were lucky to get what we got out of that. And then the Miami series the next year, I thought the exact same thing. Obviously, we won that one. I still don't know how we did it, but we somehow did it.
So
exactly.
Go ahead. I wanted to ask you guys this. Where do you think, because I see a lot of debate between Atlanta fans online, where do you think the problem lies? Is it the FO? Is it coaching? Is it players? Like, where do you guys think that problem starts? Like, what do you think the root of the problem is right now?
We've gone through it a lot ad nauseum on this show and on this channel, but I'll sum it up a little bit, and then
Okay.
Mike, if you want to add. But basically, it seems like it's a deeply ingrained problem that stems from Carlos Bocanegra, and essentially a lot of the players that he's brought on are just not talented enough, for one, haven't gelled. There's no sense of a togetherness in the squad at all, and these players essentially play for themselves and don't play for each other, don't play for the club, don't play for the badge on the front. And no matter which coach we bring in, it's a collection of players that almost look like they don't want anything to do with each other. So, ultimately you see those type of performances because that, or also the injury crisis that we seemingly have every single year. And it's symptomatic of bad squad building, where essentially you have players that are, I think, wildly different in what they bring to the squad and what they can ultimately do from player to player. It's a wild swing. And when those players basically, like, you have to adapt your entire tactics and strategy of playing because said player that comes in can't essentially play in the same system, like, you're just in trouble. Like, it's just, from game to game, it just looks like, they have no idea what they're doing. Yeah. So, that's part of the problem.
Yeah, there's I wrote like a whole article about this a while ago, but basically the short and sweet of it is exactly what AJ said, but I'll put a finer point on it that I'll describe these players as mercenaries. That's what Bocanegra basically was bringing in. He just bought a band of mercenaries. He didn't have any way of like discerning their way of bonding together, gelling together, any kind of factor of chemistry or anything like this. It seems the scouting apparently didn't include any considerations of anything like that. It's all just, oh, does he score goals? Does he look good on paper? Is this guy this? Does he talk a good game? Is he whatever? Does he sell himself to me? All right, let's bring him in. And then he brings in, and then they basically just do a job. And what we've accused a lot of them over the years of doing is basically, like AJ said, not playing for the badge, playing for money. Seems to be a cushy job here at Atlanta. You get paid a lot of money to underperform a lot, and you don't really have a lot of ramifications from it. There's no consequences. So it's just, you kind of just keep going. And then once that guy leaves, another one comes in to replace him the exact same way. So, but we do not have Bocanegra anymore. Hopefully the mercenary style of, hiring people is not going to persist. Hopefully Chris Henderson, I believe, has a better head on his shoulders and can stitch together a team that, bring players together that actually work. Like in EAFC, you have like the chemistry indicator for the players. Like that needs to be higher for these guys because they're at 0 now. The whole team is like at 0. And it limits everything they can do. So, like, that needs to change very specifically. And I think Chris can do that. So, that hopefully we'll see that very soon with the next window, at least starting there.
It's basically the plot line to Predator. It's all those mercenaries.
Oh, man. Wow.
It's just horrendous. Yeah, no, I went there. Anyway.
That's how you're going to reference one of my favorite movies. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I personally, from an outsider looking in, I think the league is better when Atlanta's playing at the top of their game because they force everyone above them and around them to step up their game a bit. Because you guys have shown in the past how good you can be, and you are known to play spoiler. It just makes that playoff battle and positioning battle a whole lot better when you guys are on the top of your game. And it's good for the league as a whole. I mean, unbiased, you guys got one of the best atmospheres in the league. You guys consistently sell out a NFL stadium. And you got one of the best supporter sections in the entire league. Mm-hmm. But so, when you guys are at your best, that's when the best in ATL shows, in my opinion. Like, your supporters is a reflection of what's going on the field. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Oh, yeah,
and it sucks.
The kind of word.
Yeah, and it sucks that like you said, there are so many rabid fans here that want to see a good soccer team do well, and we just can't give it to them. It's so frustrating. It's just like this groundswell of support that's just waiting here. And we're just not taking advantage of it. We just let it slip through our fingers. And hopefully, it'll one day return if we can put a good product on the pitch. Unfortunately, that is not today.
Atlanta's a great market, too. I mean, you got the Falcons, the Hawks, the Dream, the Braves. It's just
maybe an HL team coming again.
Maybe the Thrashers are coming back. You just have that. I don't know. It just seems like for Atlanta, that city is just asking asking for a successful
Yeah.
franchise.
I mean, it's
And
electric.
for
The city's electric. When like in 2018 when they were winning it, like you can feel it. Everyone in the city is walking around with a kit on. Everyone in the city's got a hat on. It's all the bars have flags every which way. It's great.
Arguably the world, because it started to make waves, like in Europe, in South America. Like there were people, like when players were saying when they came over, they're like, oh, it's the whole like not EAFC but FIFA, those storylines when players come over, oh, I've been a childhood fan of this club, blah blah, all that. But obviously not the case with us, but it is where when they said that they actually knew about Atlanta United, I believe them, because it is that case where the number of records that the fans were breaking, like attendance records, also, like, I don't know if you guys know Copa 90, but one of these, I guess YouTube channels that essentially, it's like what they do, they highlight a lot of, supporters all over the world, and I think recently they were trying to, find somebody to, kind of be one of their hosts for the World Cup coming up. And in the footage of what they used, it was not only, I think it was like in Argentina, maybe some River Plate fans, I think maybe some Dortmund fans, but also Atlanta United fans. And it's just like, like if that doesn't tell you kind of like pretty much the microcosm of, yes, Atlanta United fans essentially, like, it's propping up the club. Like, we've said this now for some years, that this level of fandom and then this level of winning doesn't equate.
Yeah.
Like, it is incongruent, and it's hurting. It's hurting the league. Like, Atlanta United being bad, like you're saying, is hurting the league.
Yep. 100%.
I won't take up much of your guys' time any longer, but the only complaint that I have is your turf. I get that you're playing in an NFL stadium, but that turf looks like a carpet to me. That's like the only complaint I have about Atlanta. Other than that,
well, yeah, and ultimately they can't really do anything about it because it's so many things about it, but essentially, during the Club World Cup right now, they have grass, but how expensive that is to keep year round, especially with all the events that run through the bends, essentially, it's impossible because, at this point right now, you basically have to, just block it off for months at a time and not have anything else, but that's part of the agreement so that Atlanta could have this type of stadium because it's a multi-use stadium. So unfortunately it has to be there.
And then you got the Falcons who play in the same stadium from September to January. So I mean, I get where the clash is there.
Yeah. Sometimes January, a little bit into January. But yeah. So I mean, it is like, again, the foundation is there, but I think, like you're saying, like you're noticing from Columbus, which I assume you are living in Columbus.
So I lived in the Columbus area for the first 20 years of my life. Then August of 2023, I moved down to North Carolina with the parents.
Okay.
So now, 21, I'll be 22 into next month. I live in North Carolina. Still big time Columbus guy. A lot of my friends and family members who live down here, they asked me, why didn't you switch to one of the Carolina teams? I said, because Charlotte's 3.5 hours away. And I'm not switching my black and yellow for whatever mint mascot Charlotte has.
Right.
But it's fun. I don't have the advantage of going to the games in person anymore, but it's still fun. Plus,
Yeah.
I'm 10 minutes away from the beach, so
Nice.
That's
Can't
all.
beat
Yeah,
that.
that ain't too bad.
Yeah.
That will satiate any any of the other, I think, issues that might
Yeah.
arise. But yeah, no, I mean, no, we definitely appreciate you coming on and coming in peace. And I think we've had a good conversation about
Yeah.
both of the clubs because I think, I mean, I think it's worthwhile having it, especially
yeah.
about the crew who, I think could really make waves because they are that good. I mean, Wolford Nancy, when you guys got him,
Yeah.
I was not the only person that was jealous.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
absolutely jealous that you guys have Wolford Nancy because, we still had Gonzalo Pineda at the time, and that was a mistake.
That was a big mistake. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah.
Yep.
Thank you, gentlemen,
But, yep.
for letting me on here. I did not mean to yap as much as I did, but hey, if you guys want to run it back for leg 2 in Atlanta, just let me know, and I'll be right
Sounds
back
good.
here.
Let's do it.
Awesome. Yeah,
All
just
right.
stick in the Discord, and we'll hit you up for that. Absolutely. Thanks, Connor. Thanks for
All right,
hanging out with us.
Yep. See you guys. Thank you.
Take care.
Everyone. Yep.
All right, let me get to the rest of some of these comments. Sorry, guys, my voice is kind of shot, so I'm not going to read all of them tonight. I think we're also going to skip the wheel tonight because I'm very tired. We'll do it again on the next time. I think it's also, what is that? When's the next game? It's not this weekend. It's the one. It's also during a weekday.
Yeah, it's next week.
That's annoying. Okay, I hate these weekday games. All right, Cameron.
Yep.
Cameron Olfatti says, okay, sorry, that's just a conversation. Latte Lot needs to do what Gigi did and move on next season. He's the type of player that needs proper balls served to him for him to finish off the entire game. They just kicked not even a pass to Latte Lot. Interesting. I mean, I would be upset if he were to leave. I feel like that would be like a huge white flag from the front office saying like we just completely screwed the pooch on this one. I don't think that they're ready to call it quits on him just yet. I'd be very surprised if that would be the case, unless like some team came with an absolute insanity offer, kind of like they do with Gigi. I don't think it's going to happen. Let's see. Jennifer.
Yeah, because basically on that, we would have to make nearly $30 million on him, and I don't think that's happening. Like he's not going to be sold for under it unless he starts to pitch a fit, and he's like, I need to leave. I gotta go. And I don't know if I see that in him, but
it's too early to tell for me with him. And it's hard with some of these professionals. I mean, Gigi, very much that mercenary personality. A lot of us thought, that he sold the good line of like he's going to be here for a while and he really loves the club and this and then he's just gone like the next day. So like it can be hard sometimes to read people's intentions, and at the end of the day we all have to remember these are professionals looking to make advantageous moves for their career. They have to keep that in mind, them and their family, and it makes sense too. So with that, it's hard to appraise sometimes. It's way too early with Latte Lot for me. Justin says, did Ronnie even try to prepare defensively during the break? I mean, yeah, it's again, I don't know. If you guys want to have conversations about the tactics about Ronnie and stuff, and if he could do better, I'm happy to have them. I just think you guys need to bring up your points. It'd be interesting to hear what you say. Is it time to discuss the next season's ticket pricing? I don't know. I don't want to talk about that right now. I want to keep that away as much as possible.
I mean, we kind of already did. A little,
Yeah.
So.
Oop. I just heard a very loud bolt of lightning. I don't know if that got picked up on the microphone. Sorry if that startled anyone.
Didn't.
Okay, good.
But yeah, it's been raining hard and thundering over here as well. So.
So B. Ellis says
storm.
the defenders haven't played much together, but they're supposed to be pros. Pros can overcome this with preparation and training. The team is poorly led and coached. Same mistakes are made every match. Sam R. says, I opted to watch 28 years later instead tonight. Probably a better idea. Justin Fulnoy also says,
I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Danny Boyle, one of my favorite directors ever, and so those movies, while not light watches by any means.
Yes, definitely.
Like, I was watching it with somebody, and they were like, you wanted to watch both. It
Yeah,
was
they're
like
heavy.
28 weeks later, and then 28 years later, I was like maybe angling to watch both, and I was like, yeah, probably not, but
That's a
it's
lot.
still, yeah, I'm gonna watch 28 years later eventually at some point.
Yeah,
But
me
yeah.
too. Did y'all see him sit out the second half? Why the assistant's giving orders? I guess he's talking about. I don't know. He's talking about right there. Cameron says, "Do you really think this team should be in the playoffs?" No, I don't think so. BL says the players have completely given up. It's very obvious. Dial should be livid. Yeah. Ronnie should be livid, but he's given up too. He should be benching guys and pulling up Atlanta United 2 players to make very clear points to the players. Andrea Mixed says, how many more years of this do I have to be here for? I love this team so much. It hurts to see this year after the year since the Cup. Yeah, there's a lot of comments tonight, guys. Jeez. Where's the killer instinct? When's the next game? Is it July 5th? Ticket prices should be absolutely go down if we don't make the playoffs. There's a problem. Play on the ball and stop playing on the wings.
They'll never
so
go
much.
down,
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm
but you
saying.
can freeze them.
Yeah, freeze is the expectation. Hopefully. Please introduce relegation to MLS. Put pressure on teams to perform. Let's see. Can fans protest the team, show their disappointment? I mean, they protest the front office when it comes to raising ticket prices. We've done that in the past.
Yeah, but then you have half of the fan base not supporting it, and they're like, oh, well, it's always going to be the same. They're always going to raise it. But yeah, you have to be collective. And basically, when the fans actually were trying to do it, you had some fans laughing at those fans and, the amount of support that they felt like wasn't there. And it's like, well, you're not really going to ever enact change if you just sit on the sidelines about it. And
Yeah, and if it's cool for
basically,
you, like
oh,
it doesn't hurt your pocketbook, that's fine. But not everyone else is super well off. But AJ and I walked in with the don't raise the season ticket price march, I guess, to that one game, and we were met by the strange eyes of a lot of fans who are like, "What are you doing? Why are you making a commotion right now? It's just a sport team. Relax." But, I thought that was a good reason for us to do what we did. Anyway, don't need to relitigate all of that from the past. That was a sad time. Hopefully it doesn't happen again. Let's see. Fabian Perez says, should we buy a backup winger since we sold Zonde? I think we should. I think left wing is something that we've been hurting on for a while. Aside from center back and midfield deficiencies, I think left wing is a big need for us. We haven't been dangerous on the left wing for many years. Yeah, BL says very weak, poorly weighted balls is another huge problem. Yep, like I said earlier today, like a lot of those through balls or balls that were going over the top, either destined for Atlutd or somewhere or one of the wingers, they just weren't well weighted, and it just was frustrating. And you could see it in the body language of the players too.
And it's this. It's like, if you have Alexei Miranchuk, who's supposed to be our best creator and has created the most key chances for us this season, and yada, 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 but it's how many chances did he create for Emmanuel Atlutd?
Yeah.
Like, it's just, there is no connection there. And like, I don't see very many through balls from Alexei Miranchuk. Yeah, there's probably more balls over the top. Maybe sometimes balls into the box from the right side, but through balls, it almost feels like he's allergic to it.
Yeah. All right, I need my glasses to read some of these comments, so I'm not putting my face into the computer. T. Brian says, absolutely no improvement. How is this possible? I kind of said that earlier. Like, how are they not gelling by accident at this point? Cameron Alvadi says, I'm hanging my jersey. Good luck to you all. Hope they get better in playing football. I mean, not hanging up my jersey yet. Never going to do that. But, we do hope they do get better in the future. Justin says, honestly, I don't even want to watch MLS due to Atlanta's poor performance, but here I am, bleeding Atlanta United till I die. It's kind of like, that's where I'm at, and that's kind of like the opposite of what the other person just said. Yeah, and then Justin says, they're here to collect a check. Yeah, it feels like that sometimes. The mercenary mentality, we need to get rid of that, which is hard to do with a team like ours, but hopefully they can figure it out. B. Ellis says, the system of tactics of a manager are really important to know when you're filling the roster. There's a distinct disconnect between the scouting and the manager. The players definitely seem confused. They definitely do seem confused. There's a disconnect between the scouting and the manager. I think the Boca Negra scouting has always been disconnected from the team in like every way. I always thought that was like wildly separated from everything. Like we always heard, like the coach really had no insight or word upon what kinds of players they were scouting for or going to sign. It was all in Boca Negra, and we kind of see how that turned out. Would like to see more input on player selection by the coach. Yeah, this Justin is saying kind of what I was just saying. I know it didn't work out with Heinze, with like Sosa, I think he's saying, but they should go back to it if they expect these players to play for the badge and for the coach. Yeah, I agree. There's some of that needs to be done. And huge miss that we didn't get. Yeah. The coach of Columbus. No. The
Nazi.
Yeah, Nazi. Solid points, Connor. Yep, he was a great guest on tonight. Thank you for having me on. Welcome. Yep, no problem, buddy. And Kyle Apgar says, none of the senior players seem to care. It looks like we're forcing them out there where the twos are at least fighting. Yeah, I felt like a lot of that too. It's
that's the thing.
It's two things, right? It's not just the not caring and the apathy. There is some of that, but I think that it's born out of also frustration, and then the apathy settles in after that. So yeah, AJ, go ahead.
Yeah, and it's also this though, like just making the team mostly Atlanta United 2 players, there's a gulf in talent, and that's gonna be even bigger of an issue. Like, you think the team is like frustrated on the pitch right now? Like, if you have Atlanta United 2 players, they're gonna be petulant as well, and we're gonna be. You can't.
Oh.
A whole bunch of homegrowns and Atlanta United 2 players to send a message. Like, you still have to try to win games, and basically you'd be tanking your season. Yeah. Which, there's already, it kind of looks like that already, but it's just one of these things, you can't visibly do that. Yeah, he might as well just leave if we're going to do that. Because basically it almost looked like he'd be like mandated to play certain players, in which case it should always be by merit. But yeah, I think the one thing that I probably would have, or maybe two things in this match that I would have liked to see in hindsight him to do differently is not play Brooks Lennon, play Saba. Would have changed the match completely? No, but I think there would have been a lot more dynamism and, more runners for us, especially on the counter. And then two, when we were in our good spell, yes, Columbus made some changes. And yeah, you might be trying to make some moves in order to, maybe spell some guys so they're not too fatigued and whatnot. But we were in our best spell. I think, if they were adjusting, we didn't have to immediately adjust. I think we could have seen how we were continuing to play instead of just letting it just kind of, he made a change, I need to make a change. I mean, ultimately, yeah, we didn't do anything after that.
Yeah.
Like, we essentially only had one shot on goal in the second half. Like, that's outrageous.
Yeah.
Like, you're chasing a game. You need to be going for it. Shoot as much as you can from anywhere.
And also, Emmanuel Atlutd coming out. What did you think of that? I didn't really think of that until now. But I mean, is this guy can't play 90 minutes?
No, it's more that essentially, I mean, he wasn't doing much. unfortunately. Like, yeah, he got the 2 chances, he didn't finish them. I think, Dyla has seen that Saba and Tiare work well together, so I think that's probably the thinking there. They've scored some goals together while playing closer together, so, I think there's a bit of chemistry between them two. And I think that's probably what he was trying to bank on, because it, wasn't evident between Miggy and Emmanuel Atlutd. Like, there was that kind of overweighted ball right before that. So, I get it from that end, but, I think I would have liked to see a little bit more, trying to see if we can, well, also, just go for it. Like, he kind of went for it. He changed the shape to a 4-4-2, but then, yeah, we weren't really mustering up anything because, also Moranchuk out of the match. We just aren't good at creating chances. Let's be real. Like,
that shot Moranchuk missed too hurt me, like, in my soul. Like, that layoff.
Yeah.
I was like, that is, how do we not at least put that on target? That was so frustrating. So I'm going to read the last comment and then we'll be out of here, guys. Kyle Avgar says, it just seems that we aren't willing to push forward more. So in the first half, even when Atlutd had that over-the-top ball, he gets doubled up with no wingers and no support, simply no. I mean, like, very few people can, first of all, keep up with Atlutd, but yeah, I agree with you. Even so, he does not get a lot of support. They don't push together. They don't attack together. They don't see the same types of cues. They're not on the same page to react the same way. Like you saw with Columbus, they were on the same page. Like, Herrera's goal is, like, typified that. Like, he just was off to the races at the exact right moment that pass was made. And it completely befuddled our defense. Like, we don't do that. We can't do that right now because our players just not on the same page. So, yeah, it's so frustrating seeing them not attack together, not flowing together. It's just, United is like the opposite of being in a flow state. And it's hard to watch, All right, well, I think that pretty much does it for us, guys. It is 11, almost 40 right now on a weekday, so we're going to get to bed. I hope everyone else gets to bed as well. With that, AJ, do you want to sign us out?
Let's do it. So, yeah, guys, thank you for sticking around, especially even after this kind of dire loss, but we appreciate you so much for sticking around, and remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. That's been Michael, I've been AJ, thank you guys for watching, and we will see you in the next video.
Take care, everybody. Good night.